Hey everyone, my name is Charlie Hall, and I'm so grateful to get to be with you guys and to receive this invitation just to share a little bit of my heart and offer you something that might carry you in your leadership, that might buoy you up in how you lead the church on Sunday morning. And so thanks for the honor of getting to share this time with you. There's a few things I've learned over the last handful of years, 5-10 years, that have really stabilized me in my worship leadership. Because there were days or Sundays that I would step off the stage and I would just be like, why am I doing this? Why am I still doing this? I don't even know why I'm doing this. And those times were disappointing and discouraging. But as I began to learn a handful of things, I just want to share 3 or 4 of those things with you guys today. As I learned these, man, they gave me such strength to lead and love the church more deeply. So the first thing is just to remember that Sunday is the Lord's Day. And I don't know how you grew up. I grew up hearing that Sunday was the Lord's Day, but I didn't understand what that meant. That the Lord's Day is the day of resurrection. Like the gathered church shifted to gather on Sunday mornings post Jesus coming alive. And this is powerful in worship leadership, because if you can think of the Lord's Day as the day of resurrection, the way that you approach crafting your sets and your songs and your transitions and the way things come together, and even how you stand in the moment with your heart open and the authority of Jesus rushing through you, the way you stand in that moment when you understand that this is the Lord's Day, the day of resurrection, it becomes more powerful. And I think what's happened is over time, Sunday is we just have a picture of a picture of a picture of a picture, and when we see that blurriness of that picture, we lose its meaning. But the day of resurrection, the fact that you're standing on a stage and leading a resurrected people on the day of resurrection, to invite them into a place of renewal and hope and life-giving is really powerful. And so if you can remember to stand on the Lord's Day with resurrection of Jesus in mind, it changes the way that you'll lead that moment. The second thing I think about that really has changed the way I lead worship and the way that I'm leading my leaders to lead worship is not just that Sunday is the Lord's Day, but that Jesus is the worship leader. And, atmospheres and environments and lights and all those things can be wonderful tools, but they aren't the worship leader. And songs, great transitions can be great, and maybe you are an amazing worship leader and your heart is always open and you really do love Jesus, but what we need to remember is that Jesus is the one that's done all the work on the cross and the resurrection to make a way to God the Father. And so all we can do with our lights and our environment, our atmosphere, how we lead, how we choose songs, how we stitch things together, is simply to remember that Jesus is the worship leader and everything points to him. And I hope that just brings a little bit of relief, that it's not on you and me to just grit it out and make all the people come to the Father. All that work has been done in the cross and the resurrection of Jesus, and he is pointing to the Father. He's pointing so deep and so well. And if all we had to do was just get up on a Sunday morning with a handful of songs and a simple guitar and just point to Jesus, all the work is finished. The third thing I think about that's really changed my worship leadership and the way that I've continued through the years, despite the fatigue of 30-ish years of leading worship, this one beautiful thing has inspired me. Just on top of it, remembering that it's the Lord's Day, remembering that Jesus is the worship leader, this third piece has been powerful to me. To remember that this is the bride of Jesus. When you're standing in front of this group of people in a building, it's not just a building and people. It's the bride of Christ. It's the wife of God. And the way that we speak to her, the way that we participate with Jesus, and the way that he's purifying and working and leading his wife to ultimate redemption and restoration, the way that we speak to his wife, the way that we hold her, the songs that are sung from her, remembering that this is the wife of God, this is the bride of Christ, has changed the delicacy and the heartfulness and the prayerfulness in which I stand in that moment. It's one thing for me to hang out with a buddy and be like, my wife, she's giving me such a hard time. She's like this and she's like this and she's like this. It's one thing for me to bring that vulnerability or that confession to my friend. It's another thing for him to come to me with complaints about my wife. And we need to be honoring of Jesus' wife, the way that we speak about her, the way that we sing over her, the way that we carry her, the way that we speak truth to her. We need to be honoring of God's wife, Jesus' bride, and the way that we hold her and the way that we stand on the stage. This is changing my perspective about the stage in so many different ways, because I want to look over the singing people, the singing wife of God, and I want to honor her, and I want to build her, and I want to comfort her, and I want to speak truth to her. The fourth thing that I want to offer you guys today, it's the Lord's Day, the day of resurrection, that Jesus is the worship leader, and that changes everything. That the church is God's wife, that changes everything. But the fourth thing is a simple thing, and I think it's something that you know, but I want to remind you this fourth thing really does change everything. And I know you've heard it before, and I know that you try to live in it, but I just want to remind you, at the end of the day, on the edge of your bed, with no one else in the room, who you are is a son or a daughter of God. Like the work of Jesus has made you that. That's your identity, and that's powerful. I want you to think about the baptism of Jesus is yours in Jesus. So you have the voice of God and you have the presence of the Spirit. Those are two things that you have because of the work of Jesus. And living out of that identity changes the way that you approach the stage, the way that you stand on the stage, the way that you come off the stage, the voices that you hear inside your head when you're done with the stage. I am a son of God. I am a daughter of God. That identity changes everything. Now, if you lead and live with a mask on, it's your mask that receives all the love. It's your mask that receives the attention. And then when you take it off at the end of the day on the edge of your bed with no one else around, you start to feel that crumbling of identity, because what you've been living out of is a mask, something that you're putting forth for people. And what I just want to simply remind you of is that the baptism of Jesus is yours in Jesus. You have the Father's voice and the presence of God. There's a story about Jesus sending his disciples out across the city, and they come back with all these great stories and all this power that happened, and seeing Satan fall like lightning, and they're just like relishing in all this good stuff. And Jesus is saying, hey guys, that is awesome. I love to hear all the work that's been done. But what you need to rejoice in is that your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life. And basically what he's saying is what you need to rejoice in. These are cool things. I applaud them. I love them. It was my power that did it through you. But what you need to rejoice in is that I've made you a child of God. And that changes everything. I hope these four things encourage you. I hope on those hard days where you step off the stage and you're kicking yourself for whatever reason, that you can pull these up in your mind and your heart, and that you can think and remember, like, God's done all the work. This is the Lord's Day. This is the resurrected people. This is Jesus' wife. Jesus is the worship leader, and I'm a son of God or a daughter of God. And those four simple things really will give you longevity and change your heart and change your presence as you lead.